this might be the brightest color I've ever worn on the internet. Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. For those of you who are new, my name is Gallia Kastner and today we're talking about my violin setup. Just wanted to quickly say before I get into the video, thank you so much for all the love and the views on my last video, which was a fail of me sight reading Elf King by Ernst. From that video, we now have reached 500 subscribers. Whoa, huge thank you. Thank you so much for being around. If you are new and you haven't subscribed yet, please do that. It would help me out a lot and you can see more videos like this. Today, I thought we would talk about two shoulder rests that I have used, why I like both of them, some pros to both of them, some cons. Today I'm going to be talking about the KorfkerRest and the Kuhn Bravo. I'm using the Kuhn Bravo shoulder rest. It looks like this. I find this to be one of the most comfortable shoulder rests. I have tried a few of them and I always gravitate towards this one when it comes to comfort. The cushion is so nice. It's really thick, so when it sits on your shoulder, you feel really supported. The legs here are rubber, which means that it's gonna hug the violin. It's also gonna hug some of the sound. And what I mean by hugging the sound is it's gonna kind of suck up some of the brightness out of your instrument. So for instance, if you have a really bright, loud instrument like mine, this might be a great tool. Honestly, it's not even just a comfort thing, it's a tool because it changes the sound of your violin. It basically creates a really beautiful, dark, powerful, warm sound. So without sacrificing the power of your instrument, if it's bright and loud, it will still have a lot of power punched into it. But basically this just rounds out the sound, which is what I really love about it, because I wasn't using a shoulder rest at all. When I was using nothing / a magic pad, my violin would it would be the loudest thing. I was unable to blend. I was unable to play an orchestra without being like super heard, and it was irritating because of course I want to blend in and I want to feel like I'm one with the section, one with the group. This really helped calm things down, but also when using this in solo repertoire, I found that it actually really created this beautiful, deep, dark sound. Hello, this is future me editing. I said the word sound so many times. I'm so sorry in advance. It makes the vibrato sound warm. It just makes everything sound so nice and rounded. That's the only way I can describe it, is just basically it takes the sharp edges of your sound and it just puts a little curve on them, and it's so beautiful and it's so comforting, it's so welcoming. Basically, I have nothing super bad to say about this. The only thing I will say about this shoulder rest that I don't necessarily love about it is just that it happens to be pretty heavy. There's nothing you can do about that. It actually does add some weight to the instrument, does add some weight on your shoulder. I don't really notice it after a while. It's just something you have to get used to. I honestly recommend this a lot to my students. I recommend this to my colleagues. It's not as expensive as the KorfkerRest, which I'm about to touch on. So I don't have the KorfkerRest here with me. I know, why am I even making this video? It's in LA, but I can describe it for you and tell you about it and some things that I loved about it and some cons. That shoulder rest is probably the lightest shoulder rest on the market, which is incredible. It is so nice. It's basically like you add it to your violin and it's like the weight of your violin. It has like absolutely no weight to it. It actually will warp and change to the curvature of your shoulder. So the first few days are a little uncomfortable until the wood shapes to your shoulder. And once it does that, it's pretty comfortable. There's not really a huge discomfort factor, just that besides, you know, comparing it to the Kuhn Bravo is so comfortable because the entire shoulder rest is covered in that padding, but the KorfkerRest is only covered in a very light, very thin foam. which ended up becoming uncomfortable when I was playing past a couple of hours. Could be easily solved by adding an extra one of those little foam, I don't know how to describe it, foam pads. They come with extras that you can just place on top. I've seen a lot of people do that. I've also seen a lot of people wrap a cloth around it, maybe some flannel or some 100% cotton. Between the Kuhn Bravo and the KorfkerRest, the Kuhn Bravo is significantly more comfortable, at least to me. If you have a really long neck though, you're probably going to like the KorfkerRest a lot better because you won't have to buy those extension legs that the Kuhn Bravo requires. The KorfkerRest basically takes a solo violin a step further. It takes a bright sounding, loud instrument to another dimension. It basically opens up the sound of your violin and lets that sound out completely. It allows your violin to ring more. I'm not very familiar on the science behind that shoulder rest, but all I know is that it's pure magic, and that the first time I tried it on my violin in particular, my violin has never ever been louder, brighter, and more powerful. So I would say that the KorfkerRest is definitely a solo shoulder rest. Or for instance, if your violin is a little bit on the softer side, it's got a little bit of restraint to it, that would be a great shoulder rest to open up the instrument. So there are many uses for it. I really just think it opens up the instrument completely. The only reason why I switched to the Kuhn Bravo is because I have sensitive ears and because my violin is so loud and already very powerful. So I don't need any more volume coming out of my instrument, and it's more of a comfort thing now. I've moved to the Kuhn Bravo because it sucks up some of the vibration for my ears, and it also is a lot more comfortable for me. So that's why I'm using it now, as well as the flannel on top of it, because maximum comfort, you know. Hello, future me again. I forgot to mention that the KorfkerRest costs $350. Okay, carry on. Now I'm just gonna briefly touch on sponges and magic pads because I used those for a really long time. From like 9 to like 20, I didn't use anything. I didn't use a sponge, I didn't use a cloth, I used nothing. And every teacher praised me for it. The magic pad was a lifesaver for me because I was struggling with certain techniques in my left hand and realized that I wasn't actually quite stable here, holding a violin underneath my chin. So that helped me stabilize it without adding any height. But as the years went on, I started to need some height here, so that's why I moved to a shoulder rest. But I highly recommend a magic pad. It doesn't hurt the sound of your instrument. If you don't have a lot of height here, it's a perfect way to stabilize the instrument. It's small, it's discreet, like no one would ever notice unless you flip the violin around and showed them. It stayed on my violin for so many months. I think it stayed on for like 9 months straight, and then the actual magic pad I think is like $4 to replace. So I think it's a much better alternative to the red cosmetic sponges that a lot of people use, although I used to use a red cosmetic sponge and I loved those. Those were so comfortable. I would say that if comfort is a big thing for you, the red sponge might be better for you than the magic pad. But as far as efficiency, I think that the magic pad does a better job because then you don't have to use a rubber band, find a way to stick that red sponge on your instrument. I recommend the KorfkerRest if you're looking for a solo sound. If you're looking for a sound that will really brighten up your instrument and will really bring your sound to the back of the hall, the KorfkerRest is for you. It's also going to completely change the sound of your instrument. It's going to vibrate more, it's going to ring, it's going to be loud. So just be prepared for that. And the Kuhn Bravo I recommend for orchestral playing, chamber playing, but also if you have a violin that already speaks so well, to kind of dial it down and add some warmth, because I felt that my instrument didn't have as much warmth as it should have. It kind of felt loud and scratchy at times, and I was really struggling with that. And as soon as I moved to the Kuhn Bravo, strictly for comfort purposes, I noticed that that edge kind of left a little bit, and it's been really helpful since, and I feel like my violin has warmed up to it fully now, and I love that shoulder rest. Although I do love both shoulder rests, and when I was in LA, I was actually switching back and forth between them. I used the KorfkerRest for when I was playing solo, and I used the Kuhn Bravo when I was playing orchestra. So it just depends on what your needs are, and also depends on your violin. That is what I'm currently using, and I just wanted to put this in a video so that everybody could get the information in one place, because I do answer some of those comments in my comment sections, but they, you know, they tend to get lost, and then I keep getting questions about it. So I just thought I would answer it here. Let me know if you have any other questions down below. If you have a shoulder rest that you really like, that you want to share with me and have me try out, let me know. And hopefully I'll get around to that. And yeah, let me know what you think about the Kuhn Bravo and the KorfkerRest. And if you have any questions for me, I have really played around with this for a long time, so let me know. Hopefully I can answer that. And I really hope you enjoyed this video. Let me know if you want to see any more from me. Thank you so much for being here, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.